Welcome back to the locker room on Voice of the People TV. I am Jerry Arpelia, your host today, and we've got some heavyweight headlines that's shaking up the football world. Super Eagles head coach Eric Chelle'S has just identified two new defensive talents for the upcoming friendly showdown in England. And trust me, these columns have people talking. Plus, in a bombshell moment, Roman Abramovich has finally broken the silence on the controversial Chelsea sale. And what he said might just change everything you thought you knew. Joining me today are Ikechukwu and Maiwa, locked and loaded with their hot takes and analysis. And don't just watch, join us, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and call in via the WhatsApp number on your screen to have your say. This is the locker room, and let's get into it. It's great to have you join us. Noisy neighbors, one-time noisy neighbors are proud and happy that making the top four is as good as winning the trophy. And one of my colleagues actually tweeted and said that back in the day when Vega said making the top four was as good as winning the trophy, everybody made a mockery of him. How tables have turned today. Manchester City is looking at the top four more like winning the trophy.
Good evening, Jerry, and thanks for having me here again. The truth is, I think their cases are quite different. Manchester City over the years have proven to be, serial champions. I mean, multiple-time champions. They set the record 4 times. No team has ever done it in Premier League history. And of course, this is supposed to be the 5th year running for them. Of course, they had a bad season, and then 12 games. They've not lost that much, in a season before in the league. And again, yes, under Pep Guardiola, it's so bad. Everyone felt, this season is so bad for them. But then breaking into the top 4 at this point, at least sitting pretty on the number 3rd position is also something to actually look back and say how far this team has traveled. I think what Martin Nance is actually speaking of is the fact that a lot of persons rule them out. A lot of persons feel they will not be able to have a fighting chance into the top 4 at this stage of the season, considering the way their season had been from the middle of the season. So yes, perhaps that's why he's actually making this comment. But for the case of Arsene Wenger, I mean, they for making top 4 is like a trophy. Yes, again, like I said, it's 2 different situations. For the case of Arsene Wenger, it's quite different. They were building stadiums. They could not invest in top players, so they had to actually make do with academy players and low budget players to actually stay consistent in Europe. And he actually did that remarkably well for 17 years. Again, yes, like I said, it's 2 different scenarios, but nobody's actually saying winning the Premier League is not winning the Premier League is actually a trophy in its sense, but then it speaks to the fact that this team is actually rebuilding, and then they've been able to really compete in this space. I also told you, a couple of weeks ago when we were having this conversation about the Premier League, I said Manchester United is just fighting to stay afloat, and they've successfully done that. And then Manchester City is fighting to actually make the top 4. Again, they are most likely going to do that at the end of the season. So yes, it's so good, and a lot to talk about.
But you want to agree with me that this is a woeful season for Manchester City?
Absolutely.
Below par. Far below par.
Way below par. Absolutely. And exactly why Martinez is actually making a comment, because a lot of persons, when Rodri got injured, a lot of key players also got injured. We saw Manuel Akanji came in very late into that particular game. A lot of their players, Nathan Ake, many of that people who we see as a regular first level barely played together. I think there's
not an excuse, because this is the same City side. They also made a lot of transfers during the January transfer window to cover up. Who will say it's quite fair the wild fortunes of City, and how come only Rodri got injured for a long time and the whole fortunes of the team just changed?
No, the truth is not just only Rodri. I mean, they had centre-back problem. Ruben Dias on and off. Manuel Akanji on and off. John Stones. I mean,
at least whenever John Stones when the entire back line was off.
There was a particular time when Manchester City had to play what's his name, Kusenov. They had to play Kusenov, play Akanji today. Tomorrow they play Kusenov and someone else tomorrow. I mean, a successful side has to actually have consistency.
We know that Man City always had squad depth.
No,
so that was
having squad depth does not take away the fact that you know who your first set of teams are, right? And again, right?
That was never a problem for Manchester.
No, it has always been a problem for any team.
But for Man City, I think I will not sit here and agree with you over every other team in the Premier League.
Nobody's debating that.
Yeah, so that will not be an excuse for a season saying that they had injuries and that is why they could not compete.
Jerry,
because this was a team coming from a treble-winning team. And take a look at the attack. There was never a time Haaland went on a long spell, apart from maybe
this
recently.
season he's really suffered injuries.
Yeah, he suffered injuries. Even when he was available, he went for a spell without scoring goals.
My point is this, Jerry. Look at their Manchester City team. Let's look, for example, look at any team in the world. You know their first 11, right? See, now, even if you have the squad
any team in the world is different from Manchester City.
I'm giving an example. Man City, for example,
is different from every
Jerry,
other team.
You cannot,
because they have the money. They were spending a lot of money.
If you have first team, if you have a first team, there is a synergy that is built around these guys on the pitch. At least they all will play at least minimum of 65 minutes every single game. Except
Man City could easily rotate their squad and they will not even show.
See,
the time they won the treble, they didn't even have as Jerry, much as the players they even recently signed.
What do we mean? What do we talk about when we say rotating? Now,
let's not deal on Man City, please.
Okay.
Because we already have a lot of conversation to deal with, and we'll get to that part of the show. All right, Mayowa is also joining us virtually. Mayowa, it's great to have you join us on Locker Room.
It's always amazing to be here. I'm licking my wounds right now. The trolling has not stopped. I've been trolled all day. But in any case,
let's talk about the home front, where the head coach of the senior national team of Nigeria, Trinidad and Tobago, and Ghana stepped towards addressing it after seeing how a lack of trusted options cost them 2 points, which ended because the coach was short of quality options on the bench and resulted to bringing in a midfield sought to close in. And we hear that Chelle'S is now keen on addressing that area. And in May, when they play in the tournament, Felix Agu of Jam for Ozil defender, talking about if he's past fit, I beg your pardon, before camp opens for the tournament. And on loan Brentford defender Michael Kayode, who has been capped by Italy from under 16 to under 21 level, is also due to meet with switching its nationality to Nigeria. And I'm even wondering why players like Tosin Adaraboyo, the Chelsea defender, is still waiting for England. But take a look at these names. I think they are pretty decent.
Yeah, true. I mean, the Brentford defender. If there's any part of the world where you can be certain that you're going to get, and I think it's in Italy. They know how to actually mold, a very good defender. And in seeing that he has actually, made it to be part of the under 16 and under 21 side of that particular, country, him, and of course playing for Brentford is also a very big one. The thing is, right, we have a defender that spot, and he's so willing to fix it. Let's have as much as we can in that particular position. Felix, he has been talking about let's see them play. I'm sure the best of him. Perhaps this friendly is going to bring the best out of him. He's going to be more relaxed. The pressure will not be there. Let's see how this guy can and Semi Ajayi, and of course I think this coach is trying to build, a very young side, and he wants to start injecting young blood in this position. Players that can actually serve Super Eagles in the next, couple of years, where he's going to really a good one. I mean, it's so good that he's able to even identify that position, and then perhaps we will discover, how to get, that creative midfielder who is going to be unlocking and unboxing opponents' defense.
All right, let's wait to see how that pans out. And of course, Mayowa, you've heard the name. The young man.
It's a good one that we are looking at, different And but I wanted to correct something. Chelsea excuses. He had ample time to get, defenders that will probably play for the national team, and he was not able to get anyone. He should not, be putting it on the fact that he didn't have a reliable whatever it is. He was the one that made camp before that particular game. But in any case, that's a bygone issue. I think Michael brings a whole team. We know Italians to be ultra defensive, and that is one of the areas that we are lacking at the moment. If you look at our central defense, the two of them are very prone to injury. I don't think a Shemi Ajayi can go 6 months. Shemi Ajayi is not. It's a good one that we are having that is coming up in England. I hope a whole lot of them can show up and counter place in the national team. I mean, Gabriel Osho came in the last time. The pressure was too much. He was unable to handle the pressure. Reason why this particular tournament gives him the opportunity, if he's fit enough, gives him the opportunity to be able to himself national team. I'm hoping we get a lot of players able to be a young coach, a young team, and this is the reason why I feel the NFF should give him a chance. Whether we qualify for the World Cup against the 2030 World Cup.
All right, and of course, let's wait and see how that pans out. Eric Chell has said he won't be making any further approach to the duel of Freiburg goalkeeper Noah Atubolu and Chelsea defender Tosin Adarabioyo on playing for his team. Both players are eligible for the senior national team of Nigeria despite featuring for the youth teams of other countries. Atubolu has played for Germany and Tosin represented England at youth level 2. Both players, though eligible, Tosin has refused to pledge his nationality to Nigeria since he was first approached in 2018, despite always speaking about his proud Nigerian heritage. Atubolu was approached by former Super Eagles coach Jose Pesero but declined the option of a formal meeting. He carries the Nigerian flag on his gloves, and Chelle'S is however open to having them in his team if they make contact with the Nigerian Football Federation to alert them on the availability to be selected. And they will however have to earn it, especially if he has gotten his team to the required level. I think I'm not really impressed with the Tosin situation. I think we are well and okay, even if we are struggling. If Tosin says he doesn't want to play for the Super Eagles, I don't think there's any need to beg him. And for Atubolu, if he says he's not interested, if he's not showing any interest, nobody should also be pushing them to play for the Super Eagles.
True. I mean, this is like exactly how every top team behaves, right? I think at this point we should really start showing ourselves some bit of respect, because if we continue chasing or going after these sort of players who are actually not even the Lionel Messi in their own right. I mean, they are not actually the best of the best in their own position in the world, not even the top 20 in the world. And then when you being the biggest brand in African football, go after these players and then beg them every market days, and then they decide to actually do with you whatever it is they like. Perhaps they can't they say, okay, I want to be part of the team. And that's exactly why we've been crying and emphasizing on the fact that to really need to put ourselves that up there where we'll be so everyone wants to be part of this. Put on it only attract disrespect, and that's exactly why players who actually turned down the Super Eagles, a former coach, two players, right, that are giving signs of I don't want to play for Super Eagles, or giving cold shoulders. If the Super Eagles make it to, they definitely want a part of it. That means that it shows that everybody wants to be part of success. Like they say, failure is an orphan, and Nigeria has so far team.
All right, Mayowa Tosin Adarabioyo is not showing any commitment to play for the Super Eagles, as well as Atubolu, who plays out there with Freiburg in Germany. And of course, the coach has already said if they don't show commitment, he will not be making any moves to plead with them to play for the national team.
Well, we're talking about this yesterday, and I said something that is very, very important. If you are not part of the struggle to qualify for the World Cup, you have no business with the team. I hope we not have a situation where I remember a particular Sam Soje and the rest of them. They were not, they were not an integral part of the World Cup qualification in 2002, and they ended up going to the World Cup. Same thing for Shola and Moibu too. I hope this does not happen in this particular case. Those guys, they've been very arrogant enough not to consider Nigeria, and this also should serve as a lesson to the NFF, relying on foreign, bred players. Yes, Nigerian national team should never be a second choice. Most of these guys, they treat Nigeria as if Nigeria is a second choice country, and that is due to the fact of how the NFF has run our football, the over reliance of foreign based players. That's the reason why some of these players treat us badly. Yes, we have a peculiar situation. The NFF is not well run. However, Nigeria should always come first if you want to actually play for the national team. And I think those guys are not showing up. They are not showing any commitment or any, they are not showing any commitment or any belief in the Nigerian project. Should not be part of it. If by some magic we qualify for the World Cup, Nigeria be treated sacredly. If you want to play for the badge, you have to show up and show commitment. Not that you just show up at any time and you think you can stroll into the national team.
All right, that is the situation coming from Eric Chelle'S, and of course, still talking about the Super Eagles, where the head coach of the senior national team of Nigeria, Eric Chelle'S, has made fixing up the defense a top priority, and he's looking forward to that as far as the England tournament. Talking about the friendly where Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Ghana will all be involved. We hear that though the likes of Riga and the Ogbu guy were available, I don't know why he doesn't believe in them. Why invite Jordan and Ogbu and opportunities? And of course, there's also the on-loan Brentford defender Michael Kayode, who has been caught by Italy. Is also due to meet with the coach for talks on switching his nationality to Nigeria. And of course, Ikechukwu just mentioned that Italy is one country that have good training for defenders, and it'd be good to have his quality playing for the Super Eagles.
Absolutely, we can go back, the likes of Paolo Maldini, Franco Baresi, Giorgio Chiellini. These guys age and they age so well, right? Even at their twilight, they are still very much top defender. Top defender, trust me, is going to be Italy. And yes, we have this sort of boys. It's good that the coach is actually looking at that particular area to strengthen the Super Eagles. But my worry here is the fact that now we are looking at this team and something when you were talking what struck into my mind. I was asking myself, okay, so you invited players into the double header, right? And you have no confidence in them. So why did you invite them? I mean, conversation. We have our centre-back pairings in the CHAN competition, right? These guys are supposed to be Super Eagles Team B. These guys have been tested and trusted in the Nigerian league. These guys have played so well in the league, and that's why they got that slot to be part of the CHAN Eagles. And then invite part of the team, let them play, as backup centre-back for Williams. With the likes of Obama prove themselves. Azubike Egweke also proved himself. Why can't we do it now? Now, of course, yes, we've lost 2 valuable points. Hoping that we're hoping now that our opponents in the remainder of the game sleep up, and then we what we plan to actually achieve, from the onset. But then, yes, the coach is showing that he really understands what the problem is. I just hope that this time around. That's why he's actually going after all of these boys, because those guys that he invited, he knew nothing about any of them, and that's exactly why he had that problem of whether he's going to be confident in asking them to step up. or asking these guys to actually go play this position. These guys were just actually, you can actually play the Super Eagles way. This guy can actually adapt to your tactics, what this particular game of is and all of that. So by HL, and then we'll see a new Super Eagles from him, hoping that we'll actually get to make it to the.
Biowa, it looks like the man is hunting, and Kayode is already showing commitment that he wants to play for it.
I think Chell is making the right with the talent pipeline the NFF has created, which is go after foreign-born Nigerians and get them into the team, and he has been doing that so well. Also, some of the players that has been mentioned, they are beginning to show willingness that they want to be part of the national team. However, I want to touch on this also serves as a discouragement to our guys playing in the Nigerian league. When are they going to get the opportunity? About the I've not heard any part where Eric Chair has come out to say the players from the Nigerian league will be part of that particular squad. There has been no talk. It has been always, we want to track down one particular player in the UK. We want to track down one particular player in Germany. We want to track down in Netherlands. What happens to those, busting their balls, playing in this very difficult, and they're still doing so well? What happens to them? What is their own? What will be their own lot in the national team? I think it's high time. We also, in as much as yes, we want to run after those ones that are established in Europe. We should also look inward so that we don't get our guys discouraged. Players go to Afghanistan to play because they want to make it to the national team. I hope HL can balance chasing the foreigners with also chasing our local players, because that will serve as an encouragement for the local guys to be able to do much more better to the national team.
All right, so let's take a look at the Nigerian Professional Football League, where the Nigerian Premier Football League has Academy Warriors 3.5 million naira and ordered their stadium closed to fans for the rest of the season. The punishment follows crowd trouble during their match against Ikorodu City, where supporters vandalized the visitors' very object onto the pitch. The NPFL found the Academy Warriors guilty in failure to provide adequate security and ensure proper conduct of their supporters. The club was fined 1 million naira for each of the 3 offences and ordered to pay 100,000 compensation to Ikorodu City for damages to their vehicle. And the question is Ikorodu City.
Exactly. I mean, that's the very first question I wanted to ask. Why always Ikorodu City? What exactly is Ikorodu City doing that is provoking, home fans? So what exactly is it that, is it their style of play? Is it the fact that they energy outside, to their opponent's ground, and then these guys get, and then Ikorodu City? I mean, they are actually the darling of Nigerian football with the way they've actually, structured themselves, and they've been able to actually pick valuable points, hence their position in the Nigerian league. But then, what exactly is that thing that these guys have been doing? I hope this thing stops. I mean, we had a conversation here, about what could be possible as incident against Ikorodu City. We are yet to know what that is. But then Academy Warriors is out already. I play behind closed door, 3.5 million naira. I mean, how is this going to stop this sort of incident? These are the big issues, right? We said it again. This thing will come up. Another person will do it. 3.5 million naira in today's naira. It's absolutely. It means like giving them. Don't give these measures or an incident that is actually best
is still pending. The damage it could do to City's balls. And that's the reason why, Academy Warrior is emboldened. And I've said this consistently. The prize money for the league, if I'm not mistaken, is about 150 million naira if you win the league. I think going forward, if you violate any, league, there is a fan disturbance, and that is 50% of the total fine Academy Warrior 3.5 million. Find them 3.5 million for the kind of damage, for the kind of disruption they have caused. How does that even make sense? Let's convert the 3.5 million into dollars. How much is that? It's less than $5,000, and that's what you want to find. A team that is causing disruption. What has happened to 3SC? The ones that almost killed an Ikorodu City player. If a player was sitting down where the stone went in, we will not be saying this. That player would have probably lost his life. Nothing is being said about that, and that's the reason why Academy Warrior is bolding. Their fans are bolding to be able to do this, and also the kind of investors that when it comes to apparatus, because the security surrounding the home team, the provision of security. A whole lot of these guys, they use underhand tactics as regards security. They team, which is not right. I think needs to step in to handle the issue of security, to ensure that those trying to they are not killed or injured. Until this is addressed, we'll continue to see this.
All right, until this is addressed, we'll continue to see this. But it's good at least someone is talking and some fines are flying, and I will want to hope to see carried out to help shooting stars. I'm waiting for the punishment as well. Anyway, Nigerians Flying Eagles defeated Egypt Young Pharaohs 2-1 in the friendly match ahead of the African Under-20 minutes. Egypt equalized through Ahmed Kabaka in the 65th minute, but Precious Benjamin sealed the win with a penalty 7 minutes from time. And of course, some will say the Flying Eagles have started well. They arrived in Cairo just 48 hours prior, and they will kick off their tournament campaign against Tunisia on Thursday, which is likely tomorrow. Egypt, the host, will play South Africa on Sunday in Group A. The Flying Eagles looking to make a strong impression in the tournament, having successfully defended their WAFU B Under-20 championship title in October. And of course, to play for a Tunisian side who is like for like in terms of quality with Egypt. Now they prepare very well and win their first game, which is a friendly.
Absolutely. I mean, like we were talking about this on the 20 team yesterday. I think we're having a conversation around. I think yesterday or the day before we're having a conversation, and the conversation was centered around the preparation of these boys, and again how these guys are actually supposed to be the next crop of players will be looking to actually join the Super Eagles. It's a very good one, going away, from home to actually win in a very, very difficult ground. The North Africans are actually so structured, they're so good, and many of their players are actually at this level playing in their league. So it tells you the quality of the boys that we actually took to that particular home front. It's yet to be seen, or yet to be known actually, if these guys actually, the young Pharaohs actually paraded their first team. But then, I mean, it's a good one for the for the Flying Eagles. This is a very this is a good starting point, going to a major competition like this. And yes, we are champion of B. Team is actually very compact. Let's see how the tournament goes, and then I just hope the Flying Eagles are able to make it to the World Cup, and then we get to see who the next set of superstars that will be joining the likes of Victor Osimhen in the Super Eagles. Again, kudos to the team.
All right, Maiwa, who's a statement ahead of their game on Thursday against Tunisia.
Well, I mean, it's a good one that they are kickstarting the tournament with this kind of victory. This puts them in in a winning mood when the tournament eventually kickstarts tomorrow. Playing the host for them, and it's a very difficult place to go, especially when you are playing against a North African team at home. You know how hostile they could be. You know how intimidating the fans can be, and for the boys to be able to game show a testament, it's a testament to their character. Well, in any case, I want to see how they progress going forward. I'm hoping that this will be a launching pad for us to be able to see some of these guys graduate to the under 23 and also, graduate to the national team. Because I mean, if they do very well, we will be looking at them for the next Olympics. But in any case, it's a good one that they are doing. How they perform throughout the tournament when it starts on Thursday.
All right, to see how they performs when on topic. All right, let's talk about some transfer news where Everton are planning a move for Nance winger Moses Simon, the player consistently linked with a move to the Premier League. The 29-year-old has once again impressed for Nance, and 9 assists in 27 appearances. Everton have sent scouts, reportedly one of the toughest priority targets for the summer. It's a long time ask for Moses Simon. I don't know why he has been done. At a point in time, Liverpool were interested in services, but decided to stay in France, and then now Everton looking for his services.
Well, a lot of family and where you feel more comfortable. I mean, he's always been comfortable in France, and sometimes some players make some move and then that just end their career. So all of these things you have to really, really weigh consideration.
Is he afraid of the competition?
Well, I'm not going to say he's actually particularly afraid of the competition. I mean, is it about the intensity in the league? Is it about the physicality of the league? I think the French league also has high level of physicality. You might want to say intensity, perhaps, but then Victor Moses, Moses Simon it's not about that. For me, I think it's all about family. Some players look at their family. If their family is not going to be comfortable, conversations with their wife, look at moving their kids, so many things. If he were to be a single young man who is actually not married, and then we can be at this point. If he's actually looking at a team that's going to be playing the Europa League, is Everton there at this point? No. So all of this conversation he really needs to put into perspective before. Bad there as well. So what point will it be for him to move from Nance to actually Everton, where there's no prospect of playing in Europe? So all of these things he has to really think through before making a move. So I'm not really going to. I mean, if it were to be Manchester United that is calling, or Liverpool that is calling, or any of this side that that within 2 seasons there's a chance that you definitely find a way into Europe, then we can be having a conversation why he should not be moving at this point. And for the age that he is at this point, it's quite also tricky for him to start making that move. So this is why I'm kind of causing him some slack about this move to Everton. Everton is not that team I want to actually start pushing Moses Simon to actually make a move. No, so provided he's playing regularly for a club side in France and they are doing pretty well, there's no point rushing down to Everton.
All right, so Maiwa, Everton is looking at Moses Simon. Should he make the move?
No, I don't think so. I think he should stay put. He's going to be frustrated. The reason for that is simple. The way he plays does not fit how a David Moyes plays, and that's the reason why he will not probably flourish in Everton. That's number one. Number two, Everton is not. Yes, they are doing the relegation zone. That is nothing. I think with his performance in France, I think there are top clubs in France that probably feature in want his signature, and he has been in France for a while. He has adapted to the way of life in France. I think, rather than moving across to Everton, that will probably be a bad move for him because they does not fit each other. I think he should look for other clubs in France that, other top clubs in France that probably want his service. I think with his quality, I think he should be good enough for the likes of Monaco and the likes of Marseille. And those are the teams that will probably feature in Europe from France next season. So for me, I think he should stay put in France and not consider moving and not move to a lower club in the English league. It's going to frustrate him.
All right, let's see how that pans out. And of course, let's talk about the big story. The former Blues owner who guided the club to its, he last spoke to Forbes in 2021 in preparation for a new book that will be released this summer. The UK government still sanctions Abramovich because of his claimed ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin. And following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Boris Johnson's conservative government first imposed sanctions on him. The 58-year-old had to sell the Premier League club to the Todd Boehly Clay Lake Capital Consortium after his assets were frozen. And according to reports, Abramovich has done 2 interviews regarding the sale. One was in January in Abu Dhabi, and the other, beg your pardon, was a year earlier in Istanbul, where Abramovich spent the majority of his time. The Russian oligarch's remarks will be featured in the Powell's upcoming book, Sanctioned: The Inside Story of the Sale of Chelsea FC. All the stories from the 95-day buyer hunt, which Rain Bank oversaw under government supervision, will also be included in the book. And of course, I can't wait to hear more stories about it and how I think Abramovich's love for Chelsea is definitely not hidden. And he definitely didn't want to sell the club side. He was forced to sell the club. And since then, the club has not returned back to the glory days. And a lot of Chelsea fans were not happy with the way he was forced to sell the club.
Nobody was happy. The opposition club in England weren't happy as well. This guy is actually the midwife of the new Chelsea. Over 50 years, Chelsea had no honor at all. They don't have any trophy to their name. But then this guy stepped in. And
they made the Champions League the first time in 1999.
Yes, of course. And then they came in, and when he came in, his recruitment process was fantastic. He brought a mentality monster in manager in person of Jose Mourinho, and then he turned the ties around. Brought in Makalele from Real Madrid. Brought top key players across the world. DJ Drogba brought what he actually did. He brought in the experience, the young ones, the ones that are growing, the ones that have hit the ceiling. Every single player assembled, and of course he did the double in the Premier League. Then again, he won FA Cup. He won everything. Then he went on to he took Chelsea to that season UEFA Champions League quarterfinals, and of course before he actually left, before this man actually came in to actually took them to the final and then lost to Manchester United. So he showed that he's a manager that you can actually rely on. And then this man understands the business of the game. He knows that money is the game of the sport. He knows that when the players are happy, you definitely get a result. He gave the board everything they wanted. He brought in the players he needed for the club. And Chelsea was like, the Real Madrid and the Man City of today. Whatever it is they want to actually, go forward, they have a manager, they have an owner that understands the business of sport, and he did so well for Chelsea, and Chelsea rose to the summit. I think at some point, Chelsea was actually a top 5 most valuable team in Europe. They were so good, and they got quality players across. Look at that Chelsea team. Every single one of them was at that point an important player of the national team. That's exactly what it means to have a top team. And then, unfortunately, during his era, Chelsea never got the UEFA Champions League trophy. But then, this man understands what it means. 2012 and 2021, before the incident actually happened. But the UEFA Champions League final, he lost 1 and then won 2. Right, he won against Bayern Munich and of course against Manchester City. So before the incident happened, the one in Ukraine, and then politics because of his style. I think the British, the APL didn't actually manage the situation well, because for me, I think there should be a way to actually separate this. A lot of drama, a lot of character into the Premier League, and ever since he left the Premier League, it felt like something actually left, because there's something actually bring. The competition for money, the value of Premier League players increased because people started pumping money. You want to actually compete with Chelsea, you want to overthrow Chelsea, and it was even this Abramovich incident actually brought the likes of owners that bought less from I think the man is from Japan, and we also had the master. So the Gulf boys, that's the Saudi Arabia and co, started looking at next place. Everybody wants to put his money where they know they can actually get the best result. But it's unfortunate they didn't manage the situation well, and it's going to be an interesting read to see what he actually wrote about how the sale. I want to believe his hand was forced, to actually make that sale.
And the money was even going to get was also straight to his pocket. It was really that bad. Maiwa, we all understand that Roman definitely was not happy with the way he was forced to sell Chelsea. Just cut ties with Putin and hold on to the club Chelsea he loves so much.
For me, I think Roman was punished unnecessarily. He was made a scapegoat. The thing is he's an oil merchant. He has an oil well. If you definitely you have to dance to the tune of Vladimir Putin. The people handling this, they should have known that, and they decided to punish him unnecessarily. He doesn't have any part in the war. He cannot speak freely because already he knows he has business interests, in Russia, and he will not want his business to collapse. President, you know how they disappear. Remember the case of the Wagner. He suddenly just died of plane crash. So that's the reason why a lot of people avoid Vladimir Putin. However, I think the EPL for allowing this to happen, they are hypocrites. You chase an Abramovich away, violating human rights, and the Saudis who have been accused of terrible things that they do, you allow them to buy a club in England. It shows their hypocritical. I don't. Abramovich has done so well. One that brought about people wanting to invest in the EPL. Also, it took Chelsea from a club that's not making profit to a profitable. You might job done. So kudos to reading that. I want to see exactly things that we don't know in the press. I want to see the expose in that particular. But for me, I think the EPL did not handle this very well, and I think they cheated.
I want to wrap it up today and still take a look at Manchester City, who battles the Champions League qualification will be Manchester City's Premier League trophy after a poor campaign by their stellar standards. And of course, Maiwa is already catching the joke there. Wenger was mocked by a lot of fans. Both position, he said, as winning a trophy, and this man is saying, Pep Guardiola will be happy with this comment.
No, like I said before, they had too many troubles, from Pep Guardiola's marital issues to deep in form to players injury in and out, key players. The synergy of the team broke. Of course, players that are actually they don't have the leg again, so they can't actually also mentioned that his team cannot favorably compete with the physicality of the Premier League this season. So all of these things put into place, and of course the way they are playing of the season really showed that they've really are deep in the lowest ebb of what a top team means. Now to make this statement, it shows that in spite of all of this, Manchester City have actually risen to a level where they are going to make it into the top four. And of course, for them, right, I mean, it is always better for them to always be in Europe, and getting that European ticket slot is like also winning a trophy at this point because of their very bad form. With it, without winning 12 games in the Premier League this season, would have survived making it to top four. I don't think Arsenal or any of those top teams. So it shows that the quality of the team at this point, they really have a good crop, and this can actually be viewed in the right sense. Look at the around them, they cannot make the top four if they suffer what Man City had gone through this season. So I quite his claim. Man City is actually a top team, and then a top team will always be at that level.
I think I don't buy that, but Man, anyway, it's his opinion. Man City has fully close, I would have gone through it.
No, that's his claim. His claim. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if it's just his time, anyway. Because if Rodri gets
PGM will give you league.
Yeah, forget. Okay, all the time Man City has been winning it. Do you know how many favors Man City we're getting?
They're better than you.
You see, it's funny. It's very funny because Man City still spent transgender skills.
200 million.
Yeah, they spent 200 million pounds
200 million.
in January alone.
Yeah.
And you are giving an excuse for them. You are saying
wait,
you were giving a lot of analysis why Man City is still the great team after spending 200 million in January. I think I will not take that excuse.
The players they bought.
That's not an excuse.
No,
the players they bought.
Let's look at the players alone. Obviously, if you look at the team they bought.
Over 2 transfer window only brought in Chiesa, and you are PJ spent 200 million in January alone. We are not even talking about what they spent in the summer.
Jerry.
They bought players in the summer,
and
they spent and you are giving an excuse for them why they 3. I see a great club. Oh yeah, rest. Rest. It's time for us to wrap it up. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at how Guardiola celebrated yesterday, you would think he won the EPL. But in any case, I want Guardiola to play in the Europa League. That top 4 is not for them. Another team will get there. They are not making top 4.
It's like you don't want to sleep in your house again.
Anyway, it is what it is. We'll have to go. Big thanks, Mayo Ikechukwu, for being awesome on the show today. Big thanks to the likes of Victor, not leaving out Alex, Paul, and of course, Ikechukwu for being awesome on the show this afternoon. My name is Jerry Apel. I'm saying, if not for anything at all, do it the sports way.